It's Wednesday, May 20th, 2020. Digital Trends Live is about to start. Here are some of the topics we're covering on today's episode of the show. The Metropolitan Transportation Authority in New York announced today that they will be trying out some brand new technology in an effort to sterilize and clean subway cars and buses. We'll tell you what it is. And Facebook made a series of announcements yesterday during a Mark Zuckerberg interview, including the launch of Facebook Shops, which is designed to help small businesses and go after rivals. Plus, we have some fantastic interviews today, including Eric Bauza, voiceover artist who voices the characters of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, among others, for HBO Max's Looney Tunes cartoons. And we've got a double whammy at 9:30 a.m. as we'll be joined by Josh Radnor and Ben Lee of the musical group Radnor and Lee. They'll be talking about their new album and debuting a new video right here on the show. All of that and more on today's episode of Digital Trends Live. All right, a lot to talk about today. Hello, everyone. This is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler, and thanks so much for tuning in wherever you are. We appreciate it. We broadcast live here every weekday, so hit that subscribe button and share the show. Let everyone know about it, and of course, join the conversations that we get to have on whatever platform you are watching on. And let's get started with some news. Right now, the Microsoft Build conference continues on today, being kind of the example of what we could expect to see from online conventions as we go forward throughout the rest of the year, depending on what they want to do, naturally, since we're in the pandemic. So this is what Microsoft is doing. We've got a big coverage that's going to be coming up here in a little bit with Luke Larson, but to start off, something that's trending today at the top of the news is this, that Microsoft has partnered up with OpenAI in order to build a supercomputer. And this supercomputer is designed to create essentially more human-like interactions with artificial intelligence. So a little bit of numbers behind this. Microsoft has invested $1 billion into this, announced right there. And one of the things that they're going to focus on are single tasks like recognizing specific objects and images or translating languages and things like that, but also incorporating that in with multiple tasks at the same time. And that's where we get closer and closer to that human-like AI that can manage a lot of different things at the same time. So that's something that they're looking at with a large scale. Now, this supercomputer, naturally, it's a huge 285,000 core machine. And let's see, it says it will rank in about the top 5, which apparently there's a top 500 supercomputer rankings, which I did not know that before this story, but there's the top 500 supercomputer rankings. This will rank in the top 5 with that. But again, with that push towards more artificial intelligence, and you do need supercomputing power like that. So that's part of the story coming out from Microsoft Build. We've got more coming up with Luke Larson here in just a few minutes. But continuing on here with trending news stories, another thing that could be a sign of how we could see our transportation needs changing. And that includes certainly something very important, which is sterilizing our buses and trains in various forms. And the Metropolitan Transportation Authority in New York has announced they're going to spend about $1 million for 150 double-headed lamps that are going to be able to basically put them into the cars and the vehicles, the buses and the subway cars in New York, and then they shine lights on them with UVC light in order to sterilize them. So there's a big boxes that they set up inside of there. You can't have a person in there at the same time, so they set them up while they're taken out of commission and then shine it through this, and then in theory that could sterilize all the bacteria that is in there. They said that, yeah, the 150 devices cost around $1 million. Now, there's several different forms of UV. This is UVC that they're trying out, but if it works, they're estimating they could spend hundreds of millions of dollars on more of these. Right now, the way they're doing it is actually bleaching and a lot of actual hand washing of these things, which you can imagine for something like New York. There's so many of these that it's nearly impossible to really get all of those clean. The transportation system is out of commission from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. right now in New York. So this is something that maybe could speed that up. So if this works in New York, you could certainly imagine that would work other places as well. But again, it's utilizing UV light in order to actually sterilize these cars. So something as we start coming out of this, or we start seeing changes going forward, certainly public transportation is going to be an important facet of that, and that's something that they're trying out right there. Continuing on here with our trending news, a lot to get to in a short amount of time because there's so much to talk about today. So I thank everybody for joining us. Let's talk about Facebook. So Mark Zuckerberg actually had a very big interview yesterday where he announced some different things that they're going to be doing. But one of those things was talking about the battle against misinformation when it comes to this. And it's pretty staggering seeing how much just Facebook alone has been doing. Now, of course, you got Twitter, YouTube, Google, everybody's combating misinformation, but Facebook said that they've flagged 50 million different posts on their platform, 50 million with warning labels that basically say that, hey, this is probably misinformation or it's misleading. And that's just tremendous just in that amount, just to know that there's that many, because, there's probably a lot that they didn't get. They did say that, this is something that they're trying right now to try to basically, mitigate that issue of misinformation coming out. They said that, this is what Zuckerberg said, was that 95% of the time when someone sees a piece of content with a warning label, they don't click through to it. So that's kind of a big issue right there, saying that helps solve some of that. But it's something that we're going to be tackling for a long time. This isn't new with just the pandemic. It isn't new with coronavirus. It's something we've seen forever. So whether this goes out and they start using this kind of thing on other kinds of misleading or posts or misinformation that's spread, we'll have to see, but that's what they're trying with this one. And again, every social media platform trying to figure that out as well. So something you can read more about at digitaltrends.com. And continuing on with the trending news, also something that Facebook announced, and this is important for all the small business owners out there if you know it. So this is what Facebook is doing. They're competing against Etsy. Now, they've gone after all kinds of different social media rivals. This is the new one, though. It's called Facebook Shops. So you're going to start seeing this popping up on your feed. Small businesses can set up a Facebook shop for free. Essentially, it's setting up a store on there like you would on Etsy. However, to go against Etsy, they don't charge for the Facebook shop, so it is going to be free to set that up. There's various different ways that you're going to be able to sell products through there, and they're going to be teaming up with places like Shopify and other platforms in order to integrate that right in there. They said that with Facebook Shops, this is just the start. There's also going to be Instagram Explore, which is a feature to browse and purchase items all in one place, and Instagram Shop. So they also have Instagram Shop that's going to be coming up this summer. But right now, Facebook Shop rolling out, and it would allow people to contact you directly via WhatsApp or contact a business via WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and Instagram Direct. So you can go through all the different platforms, get a hold of the business, and sell it. And yeah, definitely going after something like Etsy. So an interesting rollout from them. We'll have to see if that works, if people start integrating that in. But naturally, since small businesses, a lot of them aren't open, they're looking for ways to sell their products. Maybe this is a way that would work out. We'll have to see. But you can read more about that at digitaltrends.com as well. Continuing on here with our trending news, Apple is getting into the streaming wars. Well, we already knew they were getting into the streaming wars, but they're arming up a little bit more for these wars. So here's something that was announced today, as we see all of these different streaming platforms looking to get content, and that's across the board. So looking for Apple, what they have done is they actually just landed a Tom Hanks film, which normally would be going out to theaters. So this is a Sony film that was scheduled to be going out to theaters, I believe in June. June 12th was when the original release date was going to be for this. But Sony, without a streaming option or anything else, decided to sell the film to Apple TV for Apple TV Plus. This is kind of one of the first ones. We've seen some other films that have gone straight to streaming platforms, that have gone to on-demand, but this could be something that could be a harbinger of what's going to be coming forward with a lot of these films that are in the bank but no theaters to show them in. So Apple buying up Tom Hanks' Greyhound. We don't have the date yet. They didn't release a date on when it'll be there. This also comes on the heels of news that they're looking to buy up older content from other platforms as well. Right now, Apple TV is only original content, but this could be something that they're buying up older content too to try to keep you on there. And that's part of this, everything that's going on with the streaming wars. It's pretty fascinating how it's all happening. So that's Apple TV Plus, again, with theirs, and that is Greyhound that is going to be coming to Apple TV Plus. So Tom Hanks movie, that's usually a big move right there. So we'll see what happens with that. Continuing on here with our trending news. As we get through this, let's talk about the robot apocalypse, because here's what Boston Dynamics said today with a video that they have released. They said that the time for autonomous robots is upon us, and they're looking at all the different ways that these spot dog-like robots can be used, including this, herding sheep. They're saying that they showcased in this video a lot of ways that it could be used for farming, for agriculture, and perhaps not replace humans is not necessarily what they said, but there's a lack of workers, so this would be something that they could manage that part with. They said that they're Customers right now are augmenting their human workforces to automate physical processes that are often dull, dirty, or dangerous. Saying the robots can handle the dull, dirty, or dangerous, the 3Ds right there. But yeah, this is something they're saying that you're going to see more and more of this as these robots learn from each other. That's part of the other thing that they wanted to showcase, is that they can put a team of these out there, all learning from each other, all streaming information to each other, all herding the sheep, which soon will be the humans. But that is what Boston Dynamics is showcasing for their autonomous robots. You may see more of these just wandering around in the wild. Wow, yeah, that's not unnerving at all, but there it is. All right, you can read more about that at digitaltrends.com.
Hey, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It's now time for the product of the day.
And speaking of robots, how about this? What about a robot to clean your floors? And that is what we're bringing up today. It's the Ecovacs D-Bot 500. And so this is the robot vacuum cleaner with max power suction, up to 110 minutes of runtime. It can handle hard floors and carpets. It can handle pet hair. It's got app controls. It's self-charging, so it'll go back to the dock, charge itself up. Look at that. See, you leave some Skittles on the ground. It takes care of those. Some shredded cheese, whatever you got laying around on your carpet there or your floor. It'll handle all of that. That 110-minute runtime is key because that's usually enough to handle whatever your floor space is. It can handle all of that. It can go back and, like I said, it will charge itself. It's not too bad on the noise level. They said they've got some different modes that you can put it on depending on what you want. It's got an auto mode for the whole thing. It's got a small area. So say if you do, just have a small area you want cleaned specifically, you can do it for that spot. You can do it for the edges. So a lot of different things you can program it with. And one of those big things, like I said, for pet hair, great for that as well. So normally this Ecovac 500 is $279.99. It is on sale right now for $159.99. So you can get a good deal, and the deal that you can get is right there at the bottom of this. So wherever you see that link that you're seeing on whatever platform you're watching on right now, that's what you want to click through, and that's how you can take advantage of this. So again, it's the Ecovac 500 robot vacuum for $159.99. That's a pretty good deal. So that is our product of the day. All right, we've got a lot to talk about on the show today, but coming up next, I am really excited for a voiceover artist who's going to be joining us, the voice behind Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and more. It's Eric Bauza. He's going to be here on the show, so that's coming up next. Stick around. Back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler again. Thanks for joining us wherever you are. Hit the subscribe button, share the show, let other people know about it because we keep you up to date on what is happening in technology. And next week is a big week because May 27th is the launch of HBO Max with all of their programming. And part of that is going to be the return of some Looney Tunes cartoons. And joining us now, we have the voice of not only Bugs Bunny, not only Daffy Duck, but so many other characters as part of this. We've got Eric Bauza here on the show. Thank you so much for being here with us. Just want to say really appreciate it. And one thing I wanted to ask right out of the gate here is because, with all this transition during a pandemic, you have been recording at home. What's that transition been like?
Well, it hasn't been easy, Doc. But we make do with what we've been given the last few weeks, and it has definitely been a change across the industry. I can't tell you how many phone calls I've been getting from colleagues and people in the on-camera field asking, how do I get into voiceover? Because I keep reading that animation has not stopped. and it hasn't. You know, we rebounded real quick with the use of Zoom as we are communicating right now, and I've been using the same audio setup to audition since 2007, and it has come in handy in 2020.
So for recording this, and I want to go into everything with Looney Tunes and just what's coming up here on the horizon for all of this, but recording at home, can you talk to me about what the tech is behind what you're using to record these?
Yeah, well, basically just your average XLR phantom powered microphone from Guitar Center I got in 2007. It was $300. I had a few different interfaces. The Scarlett box, which is a pretty commonly used kind of like you plug the microphone into this box and it plugs right into your laptop via USB. And GarageBand, QuickTime are the most, they're on your laptop already if you have a MacBook Pro, as well as Audacity is another really good program and app. But then there are some more intricate devices and websites, online programs such as Connection Open. Right now we're recording Looney Tunes on that software. And believe it or not, the engineers in New York City, while I'm in my walk-in closet, I do not have a sound booth. You'd think with some Looney Tunes money, I'd be able to afford a nice sound booth at home. But again, wasn't expecting this pandemic to happen. And I use all of the clothes that are inside my closet as soundproofing.
The magic behind how it all works, right there. It's in a closet with your extra clothes. That's the soundproofing.
All the graphic tees.
Well, you've got Tweety on there, and talking about voicing these characters. I mean, these are iconic characters that have been around for decades. And Can you talk to us just a little bit about how you got into this and what it was like that first time they asked you to voice somebody like Bugs Bunny?
Yeah, well, to be perfectly honest, I was introduced to these characters in the mid '80s when I was growing up, watching reruns of the Bugs Bunny and Tweety show with my brother in Toronto, Canada, and we would laugh. We would laugh our heads off at all of Mel Blanc's characters. Not just Bugs Bunny or Daffy, but like the weird ancillary characters like Foghorn. I say Foghorn Leghorn, son. He made a universe of characters that do not sound like each other, but they all come from one person. So it is challenging because, he has Mel Blanc has a very nice natural sounding voice that kind of seeps into his characters as well. Like, Bugs Bunny starts out real nasal in Brooklyn, right? But then he says things like, "Ooh, I'm dying." And it's that's Mel Blanc right there. So, in essence, studying the Looney Tunes shorts was definitely how I got into it. But watching a lot of his interviews, like he has a really good one on David Letterman, where he kind of like explains how he got the voice of Porky Pig. And he's like, well, Warner Brothers told me to go out to the country and wallow in the mud with some pigs. And like he has like a very kind of, it's almost like Pepe Le Pew. If you could imagine Pepe Le Pew without the accent, that's Mel Blanc's natural voice.
Wow. I mean, just studying somebody like that, not only studying that person, but then studying the characters that they created. What's the most challenging one that you've done so far?
Well, it's very strange because, like, you might think it's Daffy with all the spitting, but for whatever reason, that one comes naturally to me. It's like Richard Dreyfuss without a lisp, with a lisp, I should say. But Bugs Bunny, that's the hard one. That's the one that he can play it real cool. But the version of Bugs that we're playing in these Looney Tunes cartoons coming out, it's more like he's got the more wisecracking, more of the prankster, more of the high energy stuff that I think a lot of people forget. Like all these characters, they are loony after all.
It is in the name. Well, talking about that, you said that you watched it growing up. I did too. I mean, I watched all the Looney Tunes every time it was on. I loved it as a kid. And now, with this show coming to HBO Max, can you tell us just a little bit about this? What these newer versions are, and what these shows are that we're going to get to see?
Well, with this run of Looney Tunes, they literally went back to the drawing board. They got like storyboard artists who are actually drawing and writing the stories with help from some story editors to kind of take their take on these beloved characters from decades ago. And that's kind of how they did it. They kind of, instead of writing what's funny, they drew what was funny, and then they added dialogue after. They let the drawings drive the story, and they kind of wrote dialogue along the way and formed the story that way. And they had people like Carl Stalling and other composers in house, as well as Mel Blanc. He would be there to kind of like flesh out the story, probably like rehearsing with storyboards. And we kind of did the same thing. Of course, we don't have as much time as they did in the 40s. Today's standards, you got to deliver real quick, especially with all these streaming channels that are popping up. We had to be ready by 2020.
Well, speaking of that, being quick, I mean, I've just seen you or heard you do so many different characters right here. How quickly can you switch between characters like Bugs Bunny to Daffy Duck?
Well, Doc, I gotta say, listen, Rabbit, look, they're not here to see you, okay? Ooh, I ta putty tat.
Oh, I really like your web show, but it blocks my view of Venus. Therefore, I have to blow it up.
Okay, so it's pretty quick.
So basically,
one final question.
My neighbors think there's like 20 people here at a time. So.
Oh yeah, it is. It's fully loony. It's an insane asylum that's going on in your house right now, in your closet. One thing I have to ask, and I understand if you can't say anything about it, but you are the voice in the new Space Jam movie, which I know a lot of people are looking forward to as well. Where's that at with all of this? Is the filming process delayed, or where are we at with that?
Well, my involvement in the production, I could probably say that I've been providing scratch dialogue, which is, temporary dialogue for now for the Looney Tunes characters, along with some other actors. And we finished recording that before the pandemic, but actually right after our interview, I'm hopping back in the recording booth, and I will be doing more temporary dialogue for the film. And they are still chugging away with animation. So their original deadline of next July 2021 is still on course. So, LeBron said it in an article recently, and they keep dropping little hints, and they just released the logo like a couple weeks ago. And things are going forward. We're hoping for a theatrical release.
Right. Yeah. Well, hopefully by then that opens back up. But in the meantime, coming up May 27th, Looney Tunes back on HBO Max, and I cannot wait to watch those. I think it's so incredible that you're doing this out of your closet in your house with your clothes, and still though the tech's there to be able to make it work. That's just amazing.
My biggest enemies right now are airplanes and lawnmowers. That's about it.
I'll listen for those in the background of the new series. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Digital Trends Live. I mean, this is just awesome to talk to you, and what a great career and job that you've got here. Watching those in the '80s, and then now being the voice and getting to do that's just incredible. And thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, and that's all, folks.
Oh, that's awesome. We need to get him to voice an entire show of Digital Trends Live. I would be 100% into a new intro like that. All right, well, again, we've got a lot to talk about, though, here today. So coming up here in just a little bit, we've got Radnor and Lee, Josh Radnor and Ben Lee, who are going to join us with a debut of a quarantine music video that they recorded. So that is going to be on this show here shortly. But before that, we've got Luke Larson to bring us up to date, everything that's been happening at Microsoft Build. Some big announcements there. So that's coming up next. Stick around, back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Hey, welcome back to Digital Trends Live, and we are live. I want to emphasize that. We're live here every weekday, so we're going to get Luke on here at some point, but right now, I want to fill you in on some other trending news that's going on. Now, we've been talking a lot about streaming content and television shows and movies, but what about audio? And there's a big battle that's going on right there, and Spotify just laid down some big bucks to get into the podcast wars. And here is what happened yesterday. In case you didn't see this, Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan podcast, is going to be going to Spotify exclusively. Now, naturally, that's one of the biggest podcasts in the world. I mean, they're long. He's got video. He's got all of it and a huge back catalog. And all of that's going to be going to Spotify. Now, the price for that, $100 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. For podcasts, but taking a look here just at some of the details on it, and again, we've got this at digitaltrends.com too. It showcases how serious they're getting about it. I mean, they've been having podcasts in there for a long time. By the way, check out all of Digital Trends podcasts and the Manual podcast there in Spotify as well. You can hit subscribe while you're looking for Joe Rogan, but it's not going to be exclusive for a little bit. They do have some time before this transition actually happens, but a lot of different platforms are trying to go after that, trying to get that exclusive audio, and that's certainly what Spotify's been doing. They've bought up some different studios already, but this is a big, big money move. Now, can they make $100 million off of this, having this exclusively on there? Maybe. I mean, certainly they went after one of the most popular ones, so if it can't happen with Joe Rogan, then it's probably not going to happen with anybody. His podcast is downloaded over 190 well, according to him and according to Rogan, but I believe it, 190 million times a month. That's insane. But is also the fact that he has over 8 million subscribers on YouTube. So the videos, everything's going to be going over there onto Spotify. So certainly a big money move by Spotify to see if they can make that happen. And again, exclusively going there. So there's a timeline kind of outlined for it. But this does it is kind of reminiscent of when Howard Stern went to satellite radio, because at the time, in case you don't know, Howard Stern was basically the biggest broadcaster on the planet, and going there was a huge move for them, going exclusive. So this is something that you're going to be getting on there. So they said that the podcast will be 100% publicly available to anyone that subscribes to and downloads to their devices using virtually any podcasting app. So it's going to be very easy to do it. So you'll only be able to listen to the radio show if you have the Spotify app. So a lot of details kind of coming out about it. But again, Joe Rogan, $100 million going there to Spotify exclusively. So big deal right there. I want to fill everybody in on that. All right. We've got more to talk about, though, here on the show. And I want to say thank you very much to everybody who's joining us. We're going to go to a quick break. Coming up next, we've got Radnor. It's going to be right here on the show. Back in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Hey, welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. Appreciate everybody joining in wherever you are. Hit that subscribe button, share the show, join in the conversations that we get to have, and they are always a lot of fun, including this next one. Now, you know, our next duo right now is Josh Radnor, actor and musician. We've got Ben Lee, singer-songwriter. For Radnor and Lee, their new album's coming out on June 19th. It's called Golden State. We're going to talk about that. We've got a video here. We've got so much to cover. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. And since we've got you both on separate lines, I'll just go to Josh first. Josh, to ask you, how you've been holding up during quarantine. What's it been like for you?
It's so weird. I look animated and delayed, but I'm going to do my best. Some of this suits me in a weird way, just because I've been a self-generating artist for a long time. I learned in my actor unemployment days how to wake up and fill my days, and getting set to release this record, and just making other music and writing other things. So I'm doing okay. I mean, I'm trying to also keep tabs on the wider world and not fall too much into my own rabbit hole. It's been okay.
Yeah, I think we're all trying to do that. I mean, it's really easy to get sucked into your own rabbit hole at the same time. Ben, going to you, I want to ask about this, bringing up the record, the new record coming out on June 19th, and you certainly have a prolific history of releasing records, not only the other one that you two have, but plenty of other ones. What's it like releasing a record during a pandemic like this?
Sorry, I've lost you. I'm back. Hey. There you are. Can you see me? Cool. What's it like? It hasn't happened yet, so I have my. It's weird. I have both concerns about it, meaning I think the news cycle is moving incredibly quickly, and I'm hopeful that people can pay attention to something for longer than a few hours, but it's hard for myself too. So there is a concern, but there's also an obligation as an artist to continue to share and to be optimistic and hopeful. And it's a time when I know I'm listening to a lot of music. We need a lot of music. So, there's pros and cons to it, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, I mean, and you're right. We do need music. We need entertainment. We need artists like what you're doing. Exactly. But normally I know probably this would be accompanied with a tour or performing in front of audiences. And since you can't do that, you two have found still ways to collaborate together. And I guess, Josh, let me ask you that. What's that experience been like collaborating online, and what kind of tech have you been using to be able to do that?
Well, we've been using, this kind of tech and sending each other, recordings back and forth and syncing up and getting good at, GarageBand and all these different, I just ordered a bunch of recording equipment, which I'm going to pester Ben with later today to help me get set up and figure out. So, it's like we're still doing the same thing, just with this extra kind of step or these extra kind of hitches involved, but it's still two people really trying to collaborate and, figure out how to get music to people, and that's been going on for a long time, and that'll go on for a long time, from now.
Well, talking about the new album, Golden State, Ben, maybe you can walk us through just a little bit about what's different with this album compared to the previous one, and what are you most looking forward to people getting from this album?
I think with the first album, it was very much a side project in a sense. We sort of did bits of it here and there. Josh wasn't playing guitar. We didn't have as much a cohesive vision. That's sort of what happens when you start out. On this record, we'd become better together, both singing and playing and writing. And so we recorded in a very 60s, 70s, live harmonies, organic, a lot of mistakes in a good way. The kind of thing that you can only do as you get better. So that's really, the record is just about kind of, I think, the vibe of our friendship and our interests and the way we, the sort of energy we like to create together.
And that's something we're going to be hearing here in just a minute too. We've got the video Down in the Dirt that we're going to be playing that you both collaborated on, and I'm really looking forward to having that play on here. But before we talk about that, I do have something else I wanted to ask each of you. Both, outside of what your career is together, certainly you have prolific careers. on your own. And one thing that a lot of people are doing in quarantine is binge watching or binge listening to things. So Josh, for you, I mean, a lot of people honestly are binge watching How I Met Your Mother. I mean, that's something that people would do anyway, let alone right now. I mean, you're one of those shows that provides, it's almost like a comfort show for a lot of people. But since that's probably not what you're probably not binge watching yourself. What TV show would you binge watch? That's like, what show would be binge watchable for you?
I mean, what have I done? I did Unorthodox on Netflix, which I loved. I'm doing the Ken Burns country music documentary. I'm watching Dave on FX, which is super funny. Better Things. I don't know. I'm having to train myself how to be a better TV watcher. I always reach for either a book or listening to music first, but there's so much good content out there. And I make TV, you know, I've been doing TV for a long time. So I'm trying to listen to what people say is worth watching. And there's some amazing stuff out there. So I'm not lacking for entertainment options.
Nice. Well, Ben, for you, you know, looking at it from a music standpoint, certainly everybody's, I feel like everybody's listening to music even more than normal, which it's so necessary. For you, what's one artist or album that you could listen to over and over?
The new Christian Lee Hudson stuff, I think, is fantastic. He's got an album coming out called Beginners, and there's a few singles out from that. And my favorite thing I've watched is Beef House, the Tim and Eric sort of fake sitcom that's on Amazon. That's my favorite thing. So yeah, there's been lots of cool stuff to consume and enjoy.
Yeah, there really is. And that is a great selection too, by the way. Tim and Eric, fantastic. All right, well, talking about what we're going to be watching here coming up next. And I believe this is the debut of this that we're going to get to see. Josh, tell us about this song, just what it is that people can expect from this, and maybe a little bit behind the story of this song.
Yeah, this song's called Down in the Dirt. It's funny, we recorded the bulk of, before I left to go to New York to shoot this show, Hunters, we recorded the bulk of this album last March. And there were two tracks that we loved the songs, but we didn't feel like we got it. So we went back in the studio and reworked these two tracks, and this is one of them. And we found a different vibe for this song that was much more in line with the tone of the record. And it's, you know, I think it's a really good song for this moment because it's about resilience and about, a regenerative kind of spirit that happens in the dark or in the struggle. You know, it's kind of Dark Night of the Soul song. Yeah, it's called Down in the Dirt. And, you know, the chorus is, well, you'll hear it. You know, I don't want to say anything more about it, but I think it's quite a good moment for this song.
Definitely. Well, I want to say thank you to both of you for joining us to talk about this too. And Ben, just to reiterate for everybody too, so it's June 19th is when the album comes out. Anything else we should let people know about it and what they can expect with the album as a whole?
That it's going to be their favorite record of the year. So I guess just to sort of clear a lot of time to listen to it, allow it to permeate their psyches, every cell of their body. It may rewrite some of their DNA, so don't be surprised by that. Future generations will be affected by it. And hopefully just people to approach it with the type of reverence mixed with resentment that sometimes life-changing works of art can engender within us.
Hear, hear.
Wow, that's a lot to live up to right there. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you to both of you. Josh, really quick, I did want to say Lonnie Flash is a great character. You were fantastic in Hunters.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Love it. But here we go. We've got the debut. So Josh, Ben, thank you so much for being here on Digital Trends Live. Appreciate it. The album coming out June 19th. It will change your life. Ben Lee just said it right now. This is one of those things, one of those moments you'll remember where you were. But let's go ahead and debut this right now. Really thankful for them putting this together for us. Here it is, Down the Dirt, right here on Digital Trends Live.
Don't try to tell me what I gotta believe in, 'cause I know my angels and I know my demons, and I can't speed up the change of seasons. Gonna stay right here, and I got my reasons. to tame the river, tried to stop that feeling, but you can't stop hurting, like you can't stop breathing. I don't think it killed me, but I'm clearly bleeding. Gonna stay right here, at the place I'm kneeling. Cause I'm down in the dirt, but the dirt's where the seeds grow, then where the trees grow. Not a bad place to be. I'm in a world of hurt, but the hurt's where the gold is. What I've been told is not a bad place to be. So I close the curtains, I power the phone down, no distractions, I'm all alone now. My mother's touch, why think about that now? Would it be too much if I don't come back now? And I'm underground, think I'm doing alright here. I'm scared of the dark, but I know there's light here. And I'm looking around for some kind of savior. I've never not run. What if I just stayed here? Cause I'm down in the dirt, but the dirt's where the seeds go, then where the trees grow. Not a bad place to be. I'm in a world of hurt, but the hurt's where the gold is. What I've been told is not a bad place to be. So let me be, let me be. So I'm leaving home, and I'm not returning. Everything I've known is a bridge for burning. I got knocked down, but I kept on learning. So I'm leaving home, and I'm not returning. I'm down in the dirt. I'm down in the dirt. So I'm leaving home, and I'm not returning. Everything I've known is a bridge for burning. I got knocked down, but I kept on learning. So I'm leaving home, and I'm not returning. I thank the dirt for what I found here, 'cause I got my faith, and I got my doubt here. Gonna make a new home, 'cause I like it down here. I thank the dirt for what I found here. I thank the dirt for what I found here. I thank the dirt for what I found here. I thank the dirt for what I found here. I thank the dirt for what I found here.
Well, hello there. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler again. Thanks to you for whatever platform you're watching on. Hit that subscribe button, share the show, let other people know about it. It is Wednesday, which means it's time for another edition of TBD. What does it stand for? I don't know. We're going to find out together, but let's introduce our two hosts. First off, we have Jess Serba. Jess, hello. How are you doing today?
Hello, Gregory. I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And also, we have, of course, Adrienne Warner. Hello, Adrienne. How are you doing?
Hello, Greg. I'm great. How are you?
I am good. I want to know what TBD is about today.
That's right. So each week, TBD stands for something different. And this week, it stands for the blocky dimension, because we're going to be talking all about Minecraft and the milestones that it's been hitting this week.
Yeah,
so
I know
first,
that there
Greg,
have been a bunch of them. Sorry, the blocky dimension just like threw me off for a minute. That's so good. I just had to call that out.
it's very good. It's very, very good. I credit Jess for that one. That was super excellent. Yeah, it's been hitting a bunch of milestones this week. And so first I have to ask, Greg, do you play Minecraft? Have you ever played Minecraft? What's your familiarity with it?
I am familiar with it. I have not played it. I had a roommate one time who played it incessantly for hours and hours and hours upon the day. So watching him playing it was probably enough for me and his sky bridge that he was building. But I understand a lot of people do play it.
Skybridge. Well, I want to see if he ever completed that Skybridge. Yeah, a lot of people play it. It is super, super popular around the world. You know, and lots of different ages play it too. Like every adults, kids. You know, it's truly for everyone. And just to go into a little bit of the history of it, so it recently turned 11 this past week, and it was originally released in May 2009 as kind of a beta or an alpha, I guess, release. And then it was officially released as an official game in 2011. It was published originally by Mojang Studios. And the fact that it's only been around for that long kind of blows my mind, because I feel like I'm having a hard time thinking of a time before Minecraft, you know, whether you play it or not. It's kind of a prolific game and it's been around for a while, and it's just kind of everywhere. It's, you know, its content is on YouTube. You know somebody who played it, or, you know, played hours or maybe too many hours in it, or at least, you know, you've tried it out. And it originally was the brainchild of Marcus Notch Persson, if I'm pronouncing his name right, and it was published by Mojang Studios. It's really unique in that the game just doesn't have any specific goals to accomplish. It's just a completely open sandbox game. So you can create everything from a sky bridge to to now with a new release recently in the game to actual electricity, you know, using one of the new objects there called redstone. You can make even replicated like iPhones that work in the game, or, you know, roller coasters or things like that. It contains over 400 unique items, so you can mine for them, you can build them, create them, all kinds of just unending creativity that you can explore. And so much to the point so that, you know, this game got so popular that Microsoft purchased it from Mojang Studios for $2.5 billion in 2014. Now that was a while ago, and 2.5 billion in 2014. Yeah, that's pretty mind-blowing. Like, that is how huge this game really is.
$2.5 billion. That's just insane, right? For a game where the graphics are actually notoriously, intentionally terrible. But yeah,
exactly.
2.5 billion.
It's super accessible. You know, it's supposed to run on everybody's machines. And now it's, you know, a mobile game. As of last year, it actually got a release for mobile devices in 2019, if you can remember 2019. And it's, you know, an augmented reality game. So you can actually go out in the world and mine for items in real life, you know, kind of similar to Pokemon Go in the way that it's overlaid on your device. And, you know, that's also been really, really popular. It features like a build mode where you can, like, you know, set down plates, build plates outside, and then like create different structures in the real world. So it's kind of taking the already very expanded world of Minecraft and, bringing it to a different device. And so that has also been extremely popular, massively successful, won many awards, and just added to the total number of players overall, which recently hit a major milestone alongside its 11th anniversary.
Yeah, and with that, hitting that milestone, I know that's something that's there's some pretty interesting stats and news about that, just because of the fact that it seems to still be growing. Like, Jess, what are some of the actual numbers from this?
Yeah, so Minecraft hit the news this week when it reached 200 million copies in sales and topped YouTube's charts for the site's gaming content. Even more impressive, 128 million people are currently playing Minecraft each month. The news also comes as part of the game's birthday celebration, as Adrian mentioned, that happened this week on May 17th, their 11th anniversary. Minecraft is also extremely popular on YouTube. Microsoft says that in 2019, it was the most viewed game on the streaming site. And that popularity is likely to have another spike later this month, as Minecraft Dungeons is being released on May 26th. Microsoft has kind of leaned into the popularity of Minecraft recently, as people have been locked at their homes due to all of the stay-at-home orders. And as the coronavirus pandemic began to spread, they actually made the Minecraft Education Edition free to educators to help students stay engaged while they are, trapped inside, essentially. As of March 24th, there have been more than 50 million downloads of this free educational content. So clearly there is a need for that. And I'm very glad that, there's a resource there. Of course, as well, there are different ways that fans can come together. The first gathering that took place around this was actually in 2010, known as Minecraft Con. In September 2019, Minecraft Festival was announced. It was an in-person event that was supposed to be held in Orlando, Florida later this year, September 25th through the 27th. But unfortunately, due, of course, to safety concerns surrounding COVID-19, they have postponed the event until 2021. However, Minecraft Live, the live stream portion of the event, is still ongoing. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, as with many of these places, we are seeing events take place within the different worlds, such as within Minecraft, that would regularly take place in real life. A few examples are Berkeley actually hosted their graduation ceremony within Minecraft a few weekends ago. And then just this past weekend, a music festival called Block by Block West, which was supposed to kind of be a funny kind of satirical take on South by, was held within Minecraft as well, complete with moshing even. So there are definitely very many options that you can still take, part in, even though you are within your home.
Oh God, yeah, moshing in Minecraft. I need to watch. I need to watch some of these just to really get the full idea of it. Okay, well, Minecraft, obviously huge, still popular. Maybe I need to build a sky bridge of my own. Perhaps now it's the time for me to get into this. If I'm not going to do it now, when am I going to do it? I've got to. So I know for TBD though, we've got something else that is part of this segment every week, and that is Kickstop It. So what do we have to kickstart or kickstop this week?
Yes, Greg, as you know, we always take a look into the wild world of crowdfunding, and I'm actually going to let Jess introduce this one because she found it. It is called the Better Butter Dish.
It is. It's called the Better Butter Dish, and their tagline is a better butter dish that solves all of the problems of regular butter dishes. Now, I have to say, you might think, about your butter dish. It's fine. It's, how innovative can this be? Well, let me tell you. What about a magnetic knife holder on the top? What about things like that? Things we did not think about. Adrian and I got really involved in this one, actually. And yeah.
I think it's genius. I mean, I have to think about my glass butter dish that's on the table and how I continually rest my knife on top of it because, I'm eating a lot of bread during quarantine and I'm using a lot of butter. And it just slips right off the top, but I don't want to just reuse. I don't want to wash a knife every single time. So you want to reuse it. Right. It's genius. I am totally into this.
One of my other favorite things is
so you didn't realize how many butter problems that you actually had.
I had no idea, but the Better Butter Dish told me exactly what I needed when I didn't know I needed it.
Wait, so Greg, the tray is actually sized to fit
Yes.
both Western and Eastern cuts of butter.
That's right.
I will admit I was unaware of the differing cuts of butter. So
Well-
obviously I'm uneducated in this. So this is
Well,
something that can
between
solve these
Minecraft-
problems I didn't know I had.
And butter sizes, you have a lot to learn, sir.
A lot to
I
learn.
really do. I really do. And I'm realizing this now. I'm just terribly embarrassed about my lack of knowledge in butter. Well, okay, I guess we have to ask, Adrian, I think I've kind of picked up the answer from you where you're going to go with this, but is it a kickstop it or kickstart it?
Oh, it's official. I am kickstarting the Better Butter Dish. This is exactly what I needed when I didn't know I needed it. Thank you, Better Butter Dish.
Now your personal endorsement from the Better Butter Dish.
That's
all right,
right.
Jess,
TBD
what about you?
endorsed.
Jess?
I'm definitely clearly kickstarting it, and I also just realized that the butter dish is TBD. So I mean, I think it's clear what we're doing here.
Whoa.
That's kismet right there.
Mind blown. Well, all right. I mean, I have to kickstart it then at that point. I mean, I have no choice in this matter. I can't go against, what nature wants. So the butter dish, the Better Butter Dish, it is getting kickstarted. All right, TBD. I know we got to wrap it up though with something very special that we have here every week.
Yes. Something else that nature wants is Charlie Cam. Look at him. Look at his beautiful loafy bod as he carries a stick down the sidewalk.
Look
Just
at his
perfection.
A furry sausage with a
proud.
stick.
A fur.
Yes, it's
We
very
call
regal.
him a hair pig sometimes.
He is a hair pig, and he's very proud of that stick. And thank you for that, Charlie Cam. It's what we all need in the middle of the week. Well, Jess, Adrian, as always, thank you so much. Another great edition of TBD.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Greg.
Greg.
Bye. All right. So TBD rounding out this Wednesday, and what a show it has been. It's been awesome. So a big thank you to Radnor and Lee for debuting that album on here. Talking to Eric Bauza. I mean, we've had so many great conversations just on this show alone. So taking a look here, though, for tomorrow, because we're here every single day with all kinds of content. Coming up tomorrow, we've got Chef Daniela Abraham. So she is going to be on here. She's a celebrity chef who's worked with, wow, geez, I don't know if you know these names, Oprah, Antonio Banderas, and Puff Daddy Diddy, whatever you want to call him, whatever era is your favorite. She's worked with all of them. So she's going to be here on the show, Chef Daniela, and she's going to be talking about cooking in Miami. And it's going to be part of, she's going to be here on this show for Digital Trends Live, but we have another show debuting tomorrow, later on in the day. So we have Open for Good, which is going to be presented by Ninja, in which Chef Danny will host the first episode. So that's going to be airing. So there's a couple of things. So hit subscribe on this platform, wherever you're watching, because then you'll get the notifications for not only this show, but Open for Good. It'll be airing at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, starting tomorrow, and then every Thursday for the next 4 weeks. We'll be talking a lot about that tomorrow, but she's going to be our lead-off chef, first off with the interview here, and then later on with the show itself. And of course, we've got Tech Briefs tomorrow, a little bit early, so we're going to have Ken Young on. We've got Aaron Keeney for Real News, got Lisa Marie Cigar with Gaming News, and all that's just part of what tomorrow's show is. So thank you to everybody who joins us here every single day. Thank you to the great Digital Trends Live staff who makes this show happen. All these moving pieces, it is difficult, and they make it all work. So thank you to them. And I think that's it. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back here tomorrow with another episode of Digital Trends Live.